Good evening, and welcome once again to What the French Toast, the podcast that will let me react to trending and viral videos in real time. And this is going to be, excuse me, this is going to be something a little different. We are going to react to what arguably I have seen as the best podcast that I've seen ever. And I do mean ever. This podcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Fresh and Fit. Shout out to both those gentlemen. They do quality work, and they are arguably one of the best, if not the best, podcast in the manosphere. And as always, there's things they say that I agree with, things they say that I disagree with, but all in all, excuse me, they are one heck of a show. And we're going to watch something that was almost a year ago that they made. And another shout out to Tommy Sotomayer. This is a podcast that they had with him in it, and things got very interesting. Now, in the spirit of this podcast, this is going to be a multi-episode podcast, which is going to span practically our entire podcast line. It's going to start here at WTF. It's going to go to Uncomfortable Truth. It's going to go to Just Talking. It's going to go to Real Folks Talk, and it's going to end with How to Survive a Podcast. Um, those you can find in the description below. So, if you haven't seen those yet, give them a watch. And as always, like, like, subscribe, comment, notify, share. Those 5 items there will help increase our viewership, giving you more quality entertainment and education, and hopefully will make your life just a little bit easier to navigate. Now, we are going. We are. Ugh, I hate when I do that. I hate when I do that. Okay, we are going to go over to Fresh and Fit, and I'm not even going to tell you anything about it because I've seen the first bit. We're then going to go to the next bit, watch it, and then we'll continue. And the conversation will continue over the course of all of our podcasts. But each one's going to break down something in a little different light. This one here is going to deal with the whole thing, all in all. So let's give it a listen. I'm not going to stop it too much, hopefully, and you're going to see things develop. Here we go.
Comment.
Hey
I
man,
see it.
I guess you have a lot more subs tonight. Okay, what about you?
Okay.
And listen, it's not
You
true,
got-
but if you go to onlyfans.com/TJ Sotomayor, KOC, that's TJSOTOMAYOR,
What?
KOC, the KOC means King of Controversy.
Okay. We're going to go a little bit forward. I'm going to stop it again, and then I'll explain to you why I've stopped it.
Six.
You like
Okay. This one here is the focus of this entire string of podcasts because it is what it is, and she does what she does. Here is Tommy Sotomayer. He's a comic, and he does content on YouTube at the Tommy Sotomayer Show, and he also has an OnlyFans page in which he does things I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. I don't want to know. My interest in people stop when they start talking about OnlyFans because I'm just not into that. But he is funny. He's insightful. And he speaks truths. Now, watch her expression. It's going to start with laughter and funny stuff like that. And watch it change. And as it changes, we're going to stop it. Let's get back to it.
That's it.
All right. All right.
My turn?
Yeah.
So you got a little mad at me earlier, and I just wanted to address that.
Oh shit.
No. All good. All
We
good.
love the controversy. He's a king of controversy.
When
Go ahead.
I was bringing up the alternatives of if men like saying everything like you said if a white girl wasn't gonna say that about a black girl about opportunities, I just think that all your facts that you present should have context. Something you said at the very end is when a woman turns 40, she's done, right? Her value is done. So I think we need to understand the way women behave. You said women are born with value and men have to earn it. Our value diminishes and it's gone at a certain age. So yeah, of course we have to like figure out how to use it while we have it because at a certain point it's gone.
Yeah, I never argue that though.
No,
like,
you didn't. But I'm just
see,
saying some
women-
of the things you guys say, I feel like need context of.
I stopped it here because this one, she is full context. She's a stand-up comic, and she does something else. I forget what it is. She did something else, but her primary forte is a stand-up comic. She talks about context. I have yet to watch a Fresh and Fit podcast and not see context. Matter of fact, Myron goes to great lengths to put things that he says into proper context. It is up to the listener, be it the ladies on the podcast or the viewers and listeners at home, to interpret the context as they will. I will say that this up to this point, the girls have pretty much been, I'll say attentive, with the exceptions of this one, Shay, which we'll find out why a little bit later. But she's wrong because she says they don't put it in context. Yes, they do. You just don't listen to it. And that ties in very nicely to an earlier podcast we did, which is called Listen. During the course of this conversation and the conversation that follows, that we're going to get into later on, it's going to drive that point home. Let's get back to the video.
Just what women have to deal with over a whole lifetime, not just at the beginning. So
yeah, I feel sorry for women because y'all age like milk, we age like wine.
it's scary. It's scary for me because you guys are going to build your value. You're going to get hotter. You guys get hotter with age
With
and
money.
with money,
Because
but not.
a broke 40-year-old man is a shame.
Okay, fair. But,
It is,
but
but
men
you're
age
right.
really well, and we don't, and it's scary, and it's a lot of pressure for us to not only
Scary to you.
build. Scary to.
Chris, let her finish, bro.
All right, go ahead.
It's scary to try and create value while you can with your brain, with everything you got. But of course, we behave the way we do because society tells us we're valuable for a very short amount of time. So I hear you, and I learned a lot, and I actually really appreciate it. I'm excited for round 2 tomorrow on Saucecast.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you gonna be on there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep.
So I have.
Okay. She's excited for tomorrow. She's learned a lot. Has she? Jury's still out on it. Let's get back.
I'll have more time, but understanding how you think and telling a girl she needs to provide more value than just her personality and her looks in order to keep on, that makes sense. I'm gonna start helping guys fill out their fucking tax forms or something. I don't know. What do I gotta do?
Do that. Do
Guys
that.
that are worth it though, not no bum on the street.
Fair
Guy
enough.
that's
I also
worth
have to
it.
pick the ones who
Yes.
didn't just arrive in Miami. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
and
That is my fault.
And you gotta provide value to him based on what his needs are.
Exactly.
You gotta almost kind of be. I always tell women, you come into the man's life and you got to become an indispensable part of that machine running. If you are not in the, because once you're dispensable, he can replace you with another girl. But if you provide value that another woman can't necessarily replace, bam, now you put yourself in a position where he's gonna hurt if you're not by his side, and that.
Ladies, I need you to momentarily take the blinders off, remove the rose-colored glasses, and actually listen to what Myron just said. Because it's true. One of the things that we men crave more than anything is a compliment, or someone to compliment our lifestyle. Yeah, we need them fit, feminine, and friendly. Yes, we do. The first thing that we notice is attraction via visceral reaction. That is the first thing that gets you into the door. That is also true. But the best way to retain the attention, to retain the resources, to retain the time of the guy that you want to get is to be helpful. Is to show him that you need me because I provide this, this, and this. Without this and this and this, your life's harder. Is it impossible? No. Because something that was said on Just Pearly Things, as a matter of fact, I believe Pearl said it. Shout out to Just Pearly Things and Pearl. It was said that the guy would be successful with or without the woman. I think that's true. The woman's role, if she decides to accept it, and if she's offered the position, more importantly, if she's offered the position, her job is to make the transition as smooth and as painless as humanly possible. I'll say that again. The woman's role, if she's chosen for the position, because let's face it, relationships, marriage, the whole thing are jobs. They're jobs. And if the woman decides that she wants it, and already she does because she's already approached the guy, she's talking to him. But if she's offered the position, her function becomes to make the transition, to make the pathway to success if he's on his way, or the maintenance of that success if he's already there, as smooth and as painless as humanly possible. There are always going to be bumps in the road, always. Some more so than others. And while it's incumbent upon the man to see his way through to the other side, the woman's role is to facilitate options to help him navigate through those troubled times. It could be something as simple as he comes home frazzled, beaten up, looking disheveled. She massages his shoulders, asks about his day. Guys appreciate that. she says, I hear you, and that's terrible. But in the meantime, dinner's on. Do you want to eat? Or if the dinner's not on, oh okay, but I fancy takeout tonight. What would you like? Guys appreciate that. They appreciate the home cooked meal more because she's actually putting effort into it. But that's not to say that deciding, okay, I don't want to cook tonight. We're going to eat out. That also brings value. Your role is to help a man navigate through the bad times so that you will be the recipient during the good times. That's something I live by. If you roll with me through the hard times, it's only right, it's only fair that I reward you when things go right. If I'm at a destination, I'm heading towards a destination. And this goes whether it's relationships, friendships, whatever. If you're with me from the beginning, and you help me navigate through the tough times, once I make it, you're automatically there. Because I realized that, okay, I did this, but they helped. And because they helped, I'm going to reward them. So that's what that means. And as always, Myron is on point with his assessments. And it's now up to you women, you ladies, just for a few minutes, take off the earphones, put down the rose-colored glasses, and just listen. Listen to what he's got to say. You may not agree with it in the beginning, but think about it. Let it marinate in your brain for a little bit. Ponder it. If necessary, sleep on it. A lot of what is said on this and other podcasts, and by Myron in particular in this instance, isn't wrong. And I'll go one further and tell you, he tells you these things because, truth be told, he cares. You will sit there and say, he's got a funny way of showing it. Yeah, and maybe he does. Maybe he does. It might come off as brash. It might come out as rough. It may come out as misogynistic or anything else that you want to call it, any negative, toxic, whatever you want to call it. But when you look at it at its core, if you peel away the layers and look at it for what it is, not what it could be, what it actually is. He's trying to help you. Anyway, let's get back.
That's how you become an asset because he can't necessarily replace you. And I think once women understand that they need to become an indispensable tool in the machine, that's when you get kept around. But a lot of girls think, I'm just going to come in and I'll be good. And that's not. That will get you sex, that will get you dates, that will get you cool experiences, that will get you flown out, etc. But it will not get you the guy to
But
keep.
that's what I said to you.
I'm sorry?
You didn't agree. That's exactly what I said to you. That a woman
Not
has to be a
really.
partner. That she's by his side, helping him, and they're helping each other. But she's valuable because she's not just expecting the world and not giving anything in return. That's what I said.
You didn't
So we're
necessarily
saying
I think
I
your
did
friend's
say
a
that.
equal teammate. He's talking about like different roles.
Yeah, because what I'm talking about, remember, we were talking about the calculator. I said that as a man, because remember, that whole conversation started when I was saying a man that's a 1% guy has more options than a woman does. So I was saying that man has the leverage. So you can't necessarily sit there and be like, well, I'm gonna have you all to myself. I'm gonna act anyway. No, that guy has leverage.
I don't want to act anyway. I'm saying that 1% guy also
I'm not
needs
saying-
that girl that's gonna
I'm
like
not
help
speaking
him.
to you directly. I'm
Yeah.
saying women in general.
In general.
Like when you deal with a certain caliber.
Why? This will be expanded on greater when we get to How to Survive a Podcast. But when you're in this setting, a round table panel type discussion, when people speak of things, they're speaking in generalities. They're generalizing stuff. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's what they're doing. To give you a complete worldview, for you to take away what you will from it. This one right here is talking about me, I never said you. We're talking in generalities. We're not talking about specifics. If it was specifics, he would say you. Like when he says, according to earlier in the podcast, because he keeps notes, and I definitely commend him for keeping notes. But he keeps his notes, and he says, for example, you said blah, blah, blah. That is a specific. And when he says something like that, then feel free to respond in kind. But if he's just talking about especially about a topic, he and Fresh, and a lot of times also the guest, in this case Tommy Sotomayer, they're talking about generalities, generalization. They're talking about the whole. And once again, it should never be said. It shouldn't have to be said, but it will be said. There are exceptions to every stinking rule. No one rule is going to fit all peoples. It never has. It never does. It never will. You can think, oh, well, such and such didn't happen to him, and well, not all, or this, that, and the other thing. No. We're not talking, he's talking about generalizations. And of course, there's going to be situations that you could think of, either yourself or someone that you know and care about, had a different experience. But that does not negate the fact that most people experience situations a certain way. And it shouldn't have to be spoken like not everything is everything. Because as Myron also said in another podcast, if we're going to talk about generalizations, we'll be here all day. I mean, talking about specifics. We'll be here all day. So we tend not to. We talk about things that happen to a majority of people. We acknowledge the fact that it may happen to a minority, but we're not speaking on it.
Guy, there's certain rules and regulations that you must adhere to, and things that you might not like that you have to understand. He's gonna step out and have sex with other girls. You won't necessarily be able to get away with certain things that you've been able to get away with other men. Not you in particular, but a lot of girls are able to kind of, run guys circles around guys, and you can't necessarily do that all the time with certain types of guys.
Why do you have to do that? He's speaking to the LCD, lowest common denominator. It's like a room full of college people, but he has to speak to the fifth grader, so the fifth grader can get the gist of things. Not a good look. We'll expand upon that also in the future edition of How to Survive a Podcast.
Yeah, facts.
that are higher status because
Yeah.
they'll replace you.
Yep.
Men are only, and I say uncomfortable things about men too. Men are only as faithful as their options.
Cool.
And for the most faithful guy, give him $2 million, a blue check on
A
Instagram,
Lamborghini?
couple Lamborghinis, and a mansion. I'm telling you, he's fucking that night, bro.
Oh
He's
God,
not-
that's what I be saying.
Yeah.
These bitches giving that pussy.
Shay interjects. And this is where you really have to start watching her. She's been doing this all night. Notice Tommy's looking over like, really? You gonna let her get away with that?
Yeah. So we say unflattering things about men too. So that's, I think we're arguing two different roads here, two different things. But yeah, I mean, I will say one thing when it comes to female value. The beauty with women is that you always, you have it. You know what I'm saying? With men, it's not guaranteed. You're going to have to build it up. Some guys do, some guys don't. If a man does build it up, then yeah, that fire burns out, longer and it's more sustainable. But women, when you guys get your fire, it's brightest and strongest, but it's a shorter duration. So I always say, when you're at your hottest, like use it to your advantage and get the best guy that you can. Leverage what you can when you can. But the thing with men is that we don't get the same opportunities, but ours just lasts a little bit longer. But you have to put in the work. So in other words, men are basically self-made millionaires if they do the work. Women are trust fund babies from the perspective of sex and relationships.
I see it.
Then he broke it down into elementary school stuff so that everybody can get it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like a 21-year-old woman is beautiful. She was born that way. It is what it is. Maybe some makeup or whatever, but she's born with her value. Versus a 21-year-old man has to work himself up to something to potentially become a successful 31-year-old man.
Correct.
And that explains why men and women are different. Women are trust fund babies. They're born with it. Men are entrepreneurs. They've got to earn it. And you may not see it. It may not be that acceptable to you. But there's a reason why you could be straight out of high school, have above average attractiveness. You're cute. You're a 6'7". And you get invited to yachts. You skip the line at clubs, you go right in. Don't pay for nothing. Guys trying to holler at you no matter where you go. This is why. Because your greatest weapon, your greatest asset, is your prettiness. Some know they have it. Some think they have it. Some swear they have it. And some don't have it. And even for the ones that don't have it, I'll say that on a whole, they know what it's like because any female from the onset of puberty, and sometimes even earlier, have had guys want to hit it. They want to smash it. And as I said on earlier platforms, you can be ugly. But if they can get away with it, no one to see this, as MC Search from third base says, no one to see this. Boom, I dropped my fluid like a chemist. That's not right, that's not fair, that's not just. Because no one's taking into consideration the unattractive girl. He had a need, she was there. That's the guy's excuse. I was feeling horny, and she was there. So I made my move. And because the guy that does this is himself a 7, an 8, of course the girl's going to let him in. Because she feels, and this is something that needs to stop like yesterday. But she feels he hit it. I must be, and then he says 8. I must be an 8. I'm pretty. No, you're not pretty. He's horny. And it's not fair. I'll be the first to sit there and say this. It's never fair. But as has been said in this another podcast, and I've said it myself, life isn't fair. And every day I'm thankful that it isn't. Because think about this for a minute. What if everything that you did that was bad, every negative outcome that you have in your life, you had coming? Think about that for a minute. What if every bad thing that that happened to you you had it coming? You did something to facilitate this. And truth be told, you probably did. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. It's a truism that was true the moment that was said. It's true today, and it'll be true tomorrow. It'll always be true. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. And if it's fair, then you had it coming. Don't cry about it. Don't whine about it. Don't tell me about it. Don't tell anybody about it. Sit there and take it and deal with it. You did it. Is that fair? No, but then again, that's the whole point. It's not fair because life isn't fair, because if it was fair, it wouldn't be worth living. Everybody would be completely mindful of what they said and what they did. And while it would be a much, much better place to live in, it'd be as boring as hell. Now, I don't know what that looks like, so I won't speak on it. I don't think I'll ever know what that's like, not as long as I'm on this earth. But getting back, it is what it is. back to the video.
And because men value looks and women value security.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, and men have to. That's why men have to. They must become.
Okay. You go ahead.
Was Issa? Was
No.
Oh.
She can go
Are
last.
you guys
All right.
validating our
Okay.
parking?
Yes,
Okay,
very
good.
good question.
Just checking.
Okay, so the question
yeah,
is
he is.
what we learned on the podcast.
Our questions, comments, disagreements. Fuck these guys. I hate them. Anything.
Thoughts on the
Oh.
show?
Well, this is my first podcast, and I have to say it was very entertaining and very educational. So I definitely learned a lot about like the male brain and how they're thinking, and I mean some things were like a hard pill to swallow. It's kind of obvious, but I definitely like learned, all about that.
Well, thanks for being.
That was probably true. Will she remember it in the morning? Probably not. But hopefully, somewhere in the recesses of her mind, something that was said during the podcast will stick. She'll remember it, and she'll act on it. And maybe it makes it a little bit better.
Being a good sport. All we ask is you guys come here with an open mind, like contrary to popular beliefs and the clips you might have seen on YouTube, we don't just try to kick girls off the show. We, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to have good discussions and everything else like that. So,
Sorry to stop it again, but I think I'll go back and play it again. Then I'm gonna stop it real quick, take a quick comment, and then we'll continue.
beautiful. She was born that way. It is what it is. Maybe some makeup or whatever, but she's born with her value versus a 21-year-old man has to work himself up to something to potentially become a successful 31-year-old man.
And because men value looks and women value security.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, and men have to. That's why men have to. They must become.
Okay. You go ahead.
Was Issa? Was
No.
Oh.
She can go
Are
last.
you guys
All right.
validating our
Okay.
parking?
Yes,
okay,
very
good.
good question.
Just checking.
Okay, so the question
yeah,
is
he is.
what we learned on the podcast.
Our questions, comments, disagreements. Fuck these guys. I hate them. Anything.
Thoughts on the
Oh.
show?
Well, this is my first podcast, and I have to say it was very entertaining and very educational. So I definitely learned a lot about like the male brain and how they're thinking, and I mean some things were like a hard pill to swallow. It's kind of obvious, but I definitely like learned, all about that.
Well, thanks for being a good sport. All we ask is you guys come here with an open mind.
That's the one thing. And again, how to survive a podcast. Come with an open mind. Expect to be challenged. You won't be disappointed. Expect someone with an opposing view from yours to speak on something that either you or someone else on the podcast has said. Listen to what they said first and foremost. And ask yourself, does this require a response? For computer geeks again, if then. Input. Someone speaks an opinion. Listen to the opinion. Does it require a response? If it does, then speak on it. If it does not, don't say anything. An old saying, I said it on another other podcast, I'll say it again. It is better to have everyone think you're a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. It really doesn't get any simpler than that. People make life to be this great, big kerfluffle. It's not. When you get down to it, when you peel back the layers, when you examine the source, the core, the root, life is a series of binary choices. Is it good? Is it bad? If good, go this way. If bad, don't touch it. That's it. In a nutshell, that's what life boils down to. Or to put it another way, wake up, go about your day, accentuate the good, downplay the bad, elevate the positive, um, downplay the negative, sleep, wash, rinse, repeat. That's it. It is amazing how many so-called gurus tell you things. People spend thousands and thousands of dollars for self-help publications. They go to they go to webinars, they go to seminars, focus groups. They buy literature. They buy audio books. They hire motivational speakers, self-help coaches and gurus and that sort of thing. And you pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to hear something that I just gave you for nothing. Free, gratis. As in free beer, free, without cost. I gave you the game. Now, what you do with it, that's totally up to you. And more people get it wrong than get it right, but hey, that's them. Let's get back to it, and keep in mind, Shay, the black girl in the middle, next to Tommy, keep an eye on her. You'll see what I'm talking about soon enough.
Like, contrary to popular beliefs in the clips you might have seen on YouTube, we don't just try to kick girls off the show. We, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to have good discussions and everything else like that. So, and then
I want to address one thing, man.
Oh, go ahead.
People keep saying in the chat, Fresh wants to go to the club. Just so you know, I've not been in a club in like a week and a half. And
Where are the cats?
because like the networking is done.
Yeah.
But that being said, guys, you gotta understand, right? The women on the panel have a time schedule as well. We have to respect their time. So keeping the show running longer than it has to run for doesn't have to happen, because if the show is done, the show is done. That being said, obviously speaking, you have probably work tomorrow, things to do tomorrow. So the guests on the panel have a life as well. That's all we're saying.
Facts.
All right. And then Issa.
You guys already know I love you guys. I've been here for almost literally a year. Isn't that crazy? Like literally
Damn,
a whole year.
Too long.
Almost.
Too long.
Oh my god. But I do love what you guys have to say. I definitely take that to consideration every day as I'm going, because again, I'm 24. I'll be 25 this year, so I definitely have been looking for my man, you know. But I definitely put in what you guys say. I definitely put what you guys say into consideration to get the right
Chris
person.
disagrees.
No, what I'm saying,
What's your birthday?
you turn 24, 25. I'm like, sorry that you turned 25. So,
This guy.
yeah, no.
But I did
I'm laughing at something else, not her age, but continue. Please.
I did have an actual question for the men.
Oh.
Would you date a woman a higher status than you? If not, why?
It's actually a very good question.
Yes.
Tom, you want to hit it first?
I would. I think our money is better than my money.
But,
Seriously. I'd rather have
but that's not what
two
I'm
cars
asking.
than
Would
one.
you though? I'm
Yes.
saying if she was like,
If
you
I
know,
could
if she
meet
was
this
a great,
woman, I would.
He just did.
she was a great
I
down
could-
heart
yes.
girl, and she like had
You
it
can
all
keep
together.
This is what this whole video has been about to this point. Question was asked. He's answering it. It's almost like she's trying to get him in a gotcha mode because let's not get twisted. She's attractive. She is pleasing to the eye. She looks good. But she asked the question, would you date a woman that makes more money than you? And if not, why? He answers the question with a question. Actually, no, he doesn't. He answers the question with a statement. I think your money and my money is better than just my money. Anyone with a modicum and smidgen and inkling of common sense would say, okay, he's with it. He'd do it. And but I'm saying, what if, no, yes. He said yes the first time, but he didn't actually, he inferred it without saying it. Now he's saying it, yes.
Well, I'm
Together
explaining
and
now. Keep
she's
saying
He
yes.
just said yes.
okay.
Yes. I don't think.
Wow. To be so pretty and yet be so stupid.
I'm going to turn down a woman because she makes more money than me.
I definitely will, and I will finesse and swindle her.
There you go.
Shut
But
up,
would you
Timber.
be secure about yourself?
Yeah, would you think of yourself less
Like,
of a man?
would you guys be
Tom
really
Brady's
secure?
wife makes more than him.
Okay,
For
yeah,
real?
He's
we're,
quite
we're
happy.
talking about
Giselle
Tom
is with
Brady.
you.
We're talking about
yes,
Tom
Brady,
Brady.
a ultra competitive guy. A guy will
That's
take
well
a
motherfucking paid too.
no, but that's what I'm saying. A guy will take this because we look at it as this is a combination here. The guy who dated Jackie Onassis, she was Jackie Kennedy first. She got all the Kennedy money. Onassis had no problem getting with her because of what she had. ASAP Rocky makes less than Rihanna. Let's be real.
Rihanna
Offset
whole
makes
bag, though.
less
Like,
than Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Men, we have no problem doing it, and you can find several examples of men doing it and being quite happy. The white man that's married to Serena Williams makes less than Serena Williams.
And they still cheat.
But I see where you're coming from.
different.
How to Survive a Podcast. Case study. I don't know her name. We'll know her name later on, and I'll be able to say later on. But as of right now, just this one. She created 2 sins. And the second one was worse than the first. The first one was she interjected. No one's talking to her. She felt the need to put her 2 cents in. But the biggest sin is that what she interjected with has absolutely nothing to do with the current conversation. What in the name of decency does all men cheat or he cheats, whatever she said, have to do with the cost of tea in China? What? It has nothing to do with it. Absolutely, positively, and emphatically nothing to do with it. That thought could have and should have stayed in that little cranium she calls her head. She could have not said that, and no one would have been none the wiser for her stupidity. The one fault that I have with Fresh and Fit and just pearly things and other man-centric focused conversation pieces and top podcasts and things is this. Nobody says anything. We're going to let these people speak, and they're going to tie in what I just told you very, very carefully, very nicely. So remember that.
I see where you're coming from because when I started making more money than my ex-boyfriend, he was not comfortable with that actually.
That's what I'm saying. Like because
was insecure,
they're so manly as men. Like at this
Yeah.
table, I'm talking. That's
And a
why.
lot of men-
started. You outrunning him.
And a lot of men are actually intimidated by me.
That's what I'm saying. I asked
Many
them
times,
specifically
so.
because they are more manlier than
Sure.
a lot of men.
Sure.
So like, would they date
Yeah.
a woman more financially bigger than them? That's
Okay. A, 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 a few seconds earlier, Shay in the back is laughing. She's rolling back head. Then she reaches behind Tommy to tap the girl to her left. And you hear, Shay, Shay. Telltale sign. How to Survive a Podcast 101. Be attentive. Stay focused. I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling.
that's why I'm asking. If a manly
It does
man
happen. Yeah, like
would
I've
date,
made a man feel very insecure about himself just because I have more money.
Because you got them big old titties and you have them out.
So what?
That would make
So
any
what? I gotta
insecure.
take off my titties to not make him feel insecure?
They're retractable.
Yes, they are.
Button on the side.
To answer your question, would I date a girl that is of a higher status, makes more money than me? Yes, but it comes with conditions. The issue is this: it's not that women that earn more money are unattractive. It's just that they tend to have unattractive traits. And what I mean by that is that you're successful, you make a good amount of money, right? And I don't mean to use this to pick on you, but you mentioned that your boyfriend got insecure, right, when you started making more money than him. So what I've come to realize about people in general, men or women that make a lot of money, is you have to have a go-getter personality. You have to be very assertive, dominant, competitive, abrasive, non-agreeable. These are fantastic traits for men to have.
Dominant is very important.
Exactly. However, reverse it around, it's not attractive for men. So it's not necessarily that your status and your money pushes men away. It's the attitude that comes with that success that pushes men away. And I know a lot of women don't like hearing that, but that's the truth, because a woman...
Ring the bell. Ring the flipping bell. I find no fault with his logic. It's true. Men aren't intimidated by a woman that makes more money. At all. Unless they are insecure about themselves. And that sounds like a them problem. All in all, men don't care about your money. And the reason they don't care about it is simple. They don't care about it because they're not going to see it. Heavy D came out with a song just before he passed on called Got Nothing But Love For You. And in the chorus, the girls sing, what's yours is mine, what's mine is mine, and that's what it is. You can ask anybody, any female that's got either a relationship, a boyfriend, a fiance, or a husband, and then look around and say that, but in the back of their mind, it's the truth. What's yours is mine, what's mine is mine. Which is a really nice way of saying, I'm going to spend mine on me, and I'll spend yours on me, as well as us. Are there exceptions to the rule? You better damn well think no, there is. I'm married to one. And the more I think about it, the more I know I've got to keep her, because things that have been said on this podcast and other podcasts affirm it. Wow. But let's get back to it because it's about to get spicy.
Woman that's very successful, for lack of a better term, tends to be bitchy. Not all the time, but they tend to be. I've dated many women that are doctors, successful, female. As you guys know, I used to be a federal agent. I've dated females that are in law enforcement, etc. They have just very catty behavior, very dominant, aggressive, A-type personalities, and that's not what men want. And if I was to put it in an example, let's say I wore heels on Saturdays and walked around with a purse and shit. You would be like, what the fuck? I ain't dating this guy. I don't know if you play for the other team. Which you're right to have that opinion. But just like women don't want a feminine man, men do not want masculine women. It just sucks for you guys that the traits that it takes to be successful in a first world country, capitalistic society, tend to be masculine traits.
Okay, then why is it a problem for a man to buy the food in the first place, like for a first date? Like, why? If you guys want to
we
be
never said it was a
masculine,
problem.
Yeah, we never said it was a problem.
They just being cheap.
No, we never said it's a problem. We just
You should just fuck us after.
all I was simply saying was that when women go out on dates a lot of the times, they go
They
for
expect it.
ulterior motives. It's not to
Okay,
get to
yeah,
know the
'cause
guy
they
or
have a
whatever. A lot
motive
of the
at
time
that
it's like, I
point.
don't even
Okay.
fucking like this guy, but he's going to
Yeah.
take me to Salt-Based restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
No,
Let's
no,
face
no,
it,
that's
we want to
understandable.
see the manly man want to see you on the pole. So that's what we want to see right now. You on the pole.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. Wait,
And then
now?
Tommy, where can I find you?
You can find me. Yeah, it'll be hard.
I need one of them books just before I
Yeah,
go.
just Google me, and when you get past the mug shots and stuff,
What?
then you get to me. Like I can't keep a Instagram or Twitter or anything because they're flagging. Like I get flagged all the time, so it's just I'm like, where's
It's
Waldo?
because you.
I actually got a question for you,
Beating
Tommy,
up
and I'm
coochie
really
and
not trying to
OnlyFans.
offend you.
Okay. The main event is about to begin. And for those of you who are not in the know, and Tommy himself will address this, is anytime you're in a conversation with someone, and they say either one of two things, they either say, I hate to be whatever, but, or I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not looking to offend. Anything after the qualifier, in the first case, but, and second case, I don't mean to offend. The inverse will be true. I don't mean to be picky, but I don't think you should be doing that. Yeah, you're being picky. Simple. I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't mean to offend you, but why do you do such and such? You are trying to offend me. You're just trying to be pleasant about it. It's a prelude to a gotcha question. It's, I don't know, it's it'll come to me. Let's get back to it. And here's where, remember, watch her now. Watch Shay during this interaction and watch the change in her.
If you start off saying that, you are.
I hope that you really don't feel my.
See? If you start off with that, I know you are. So he is laughing, he's smiling, but inside he's bracing for it because he knows what's coming next.
Type of way.
I don't feel like that's what I was trying to tell her. Like I was gonna say that was gonna be my closing. Anybody that knows me knows I like a conversation for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
At the end of the conversation, I'm like I was in debate club. When you get through with it, you shake hands. When you get through playing basketball, you don't get mad because you won or you lost. It's a part of the competition.
Okay.
We are supposed to be here to entertain, enlighten, and educate a little bit.
Okay.
And so when I was talking to her, I was just trying, and the same with you or anybody else. I challenged them.
Yeah.
You should want to be challenged if you're having a discussion. Why is it that we can only talk to people who agree with us?
Facts.
Facts.
That
Oh, that question right there is a beautiful question. And I'll answer it with an acronym. ECS, echo chamber syndrome. We all, everybody, I don't care who you are, as long as you have walked this earth, you suffer from some sort or some degree of echo chamber syndrome. And that, for the people who don't know, are when you surround yourself with like-minded people who spout things that are agreeable to you. That's you. That's what they say when they say you're in an echo chamber. You surround yourself with people who think like you do. It solidifies your stance. It gives you purpose. It makes you right. Now, whether you're right or wrong in the total scheme of things is up for debate. It's an entirely different question. But in your mind, at that moment, it makes you right.
That's what's making America
So
like
can I ask
soft.
that question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
That was the question.
No, it
Okay. She's turning. She's turning. Now remember, at the beginning of this video, the clip that I showed you, she's laughing, she's smiling. During the show, she's practically hitting on him. She's practically hitting on him. And now, at the very end, she's changed her mind. She has reasons for changing her mind. I don't know what they are. I don't care to know what they are. Because the clusterfuck that is coming, and believe me, it's coming, is top-notch entertainment. What do I mean? Watch.
It wasn't. So I don't know if you seen. I unfollowed you.
Oh shit.
The
But you gonna
only
refollow me?
I will, but only if it's convenient for me to follow you. So
What? I unfollowed you. Will you refollow me? Only if it's convenient for me to follow you. Translation. I got a point of contention to pick with you. I've unfollowed you and won't follow you again until you apologize or at the very least acknowledge you've done me wrong or done something that I believe in wrong and apologize for it. What is he talking about? Huh? Keep watching.
can you turn that shit off?
No, they can hear. They can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so
They can hear
I
you.
unfollowed you because every time I go on my Instagram, I see you downplaying black women, as in to the point where I don't see no other race, but you always posting something about a black woman did this or what they were doing, and I'm like, nigga, you black yourself. What are you doing?
This is the standard, patented, trademarked issue that black women have with black men. You're always going in hard on black women. And I'm like, but you're black. I've got a question for you. So what? Yes, in case you haven't noticed, I am black. I know it comes as a shock to you, but it's true. I am a black man. And I have a point of contention with black women. Does it mean I don't like them? No, not at all. Not in the slightest. It doesn't mean I can have a point of contention with you and still like you. It's like that old saying, I love you. Right now I can't stand you. I am always, always, always going to have love for my Nubian sisters. Much like Tommy does. Always. Don't get it twisted. But I will call out something when I think it needs to be called out. I will call a spade a spade. No pun intended. Let's get back to the video.
So I got tired of seeing it, and I want to just say the one that got to me, the one that made me unfollow you, was the one that it was the one with the lady that had the wig or something like that, and I guess you know which one I'm talking about.
I don't, because I talk about ladies in wigs a lot. So
She can't tell him what her point of contention was because she doesn't have one. You know what I'm talking about. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. Please let me know. And in his case, I don't because I made fun of a lot of people with wigs and extensions. Constantly.
I was like, what?
Exactly, and they're all black. So it's just like, I was cool, I was really cool, everything, but
what was it on there that bothered you? What was it about that post?
it was specifically, you were saying something about, I guess, she was playing you or something. Somebody that reported your page. I don't really know. I unfollowed you about a week ago, so I really don't remember. It was around.
Body language tells a lot. During this part of the interaction, if you notice, Tommy's starting to lean in. His eyes roll up. He's looking at Shay as if he's saying, your point is? Because he even asked her, what about my post offended you? What did you not like about it? And she's waffling because in her mind, he wasn't supposed to ask that question. He wasn't supposed to ask it at all. All in her mind, she would say that. He'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry about it. Would you please follow me again? And that would have been the end of it. That was the process of the conversation in her little pea brain. And I call her pea brain because if I went back in this video, I'm not going to for the sake of this show and time constraints, but I could go back to the show and just let it play and just stop it when she's stupid about something. And I'd be stopping a lot of times. We'll return and we'll do some more of this. I've got to. I gotta run, but I'll be back and we'll finish this up. Take care, everyone.